broken things can become a blessing if you let God do the mending. Welcome to Broken to be Blessed Network, where dynamic women will share their experiences that will inspire, and experiences that have turned out to be a blessing. Now here's your host, Samantha McNeil.
Hello again, welcome to Broken to be Blessed Network. I'm so happy to have you on this journey as we're building a great network over here. Remember to do what? Like, to share, and to subscribe. Today, I have with me yet another awesome, wonderful woman that is going to share a journey with us. Oh my God, I tell you, these journeys, I tell you, I live for them. So much inspiration, so much empowerment, and I tell you, just get the chills. And even it doesn't matter where you are, how you feel, and you hear these testimonies, mm-mm-mm, you know that you can go another mile. You can brush yourself off, you can get up, you can go again because, yeah, persons that have been through some serious journey, and they're here today to tell you and to stand and to tell you that, yeah, I tell you, broken things can become a blessing if you let God do the mending. I'm ready. Are you ready for her? Let me introduce her to you.
Joining us on set today is Velesha Thompson, a 35-year-old mother of two beautiful girls, ages 5 and 9. Velesha is a trained special educator, a certified trainer, currently working in the hospitality industry as a learning and development coordinator. She enjoys good food and good company. She is happy when the individuals in her circle are happy. In 2015, life took her on a life-changing journey. She found herself planning a wedding, pregnant, and diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. She chose to fight because she felt like it was her only option. After surgery and treatment today, she is cancer-free. Help me welcome to Broken to be Blessed Network, Velesha Thompson Edwards.
Hello, Velesha. How are you today?
Hi. Hi, Samantha. I'm doing very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good too. Awesome. I'm so happy and excited to have you here on Broken to be Blessed Network sharing your journey.
Well, I'm also excited to share my story today because I know that there are so many persons out there who have found themselves in situations and all they can think of is, doom and gloom. So I want to ensure that persons out there have a testimony to look at and to think to themselves that, if she did it, then I can do it also.
Awesome, I tell you. So, in your intro, we hear that you love good food. What is your favorite food?
Well, that's a very tough question because I'm a foodie. I'm easily fed and I like to eat, especially just to go out to eat for social events, just hanging out and having a meal. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. So per se, it's hard to choose a favorite food, but I'm a foodie. I love food.
Awesome, awesome. So, what do you do for fun?
Ooh, I hang out with my girls. I have two beautiful girls, and hanging out with them is basically what I do for fun. We like to have girls' night. We paint our nails. We have movie night with popcorn and all these things. And of course, the summer provides a lot of opportunity for that to happen. And with the pandemic that's on us and everything is shut down, of course, it gave persons the opportunity to spend more time together with their loved ones. And so I particularly tried to make sure that I made good use of the opportunity to spend time with family.
Awesome, I tell you, awesome. So true. Okay, Belly, so we're happy to, and I'm ready for your journey. Are you ready? I'm ready. It's now over to you
I
sharing your journey with us.
Okay. All right. So in 2015, I was planning to get married. And in the midst of that, I found out that I was pregnant. And of course, we decided to, just go through with everything. But life had something else coming my way. During that period, I found out that I had cancer. I had stage 2B breast cancer. It was a very frightening experience because of different reasons. I was thinking to myself that I was still young. I wasn't even 30 years old as yet. And I was in a little bit of denial. I just couldn't believe that, this could really be happening to me. Of course, the stages of change and so on. I went through all the stages. But I was in denial. I said, it could have, at first, I was thinking to myself that maybe they missed something. Maybe it was a misdiagnosis. But after doing, a number of tests and they all came back the same, then I actually had to tell myself that I had to slip into solution mode. So, of course, when the doctor confirmed with me that it is indeed cancer, a lot of persons asked me, did you break down? Did you cry? How did you react? And I just remember just sitting there and saying to myself, okay, so I have cancer. And then I asked him, how do we move on from here? What do we do? What do I need to do to get better? And he suggested to me that I do a lumpectomy. That's removing the lump from my breast. And of course, I thought to myself, okay, we're just going to remove this lump and I can get back to my normal life, planning of, having my baby and planning a wedding and so on. And he pointed out some things to me. One of the things was that the pregnancy hormone, was the hormone that was feeding the cancer. So, of course, at one point, it was out there in the air that, the pregnancy may cause it to get worse. So I started thinking to myself, are they going to ask me to abort the baby to try to save my life? And, it was a very frightening experience for me. So we fast forward to going to the hospital for the surgery to remove the lump. And I remember waiting, and I went into the operation room, and I was laying on the operation table, and the doctor came in and examined me. And when he examined me, he started talking to his colleague. And, I was wondering what is happening here. Then he said to me that, unfortunately, removing the lump is not an option. I will have to remove the entire breast. Of course, I was devastated, because here I was thinking that, okay, we're just going to get rid of the lump. And then, we can go back to life as normal and so on. So him breaking that news to me, I had to start reconditioning my mind all over. And of course, it was not done on the same day. I got some time to come back. And I had to be admitted. Remember, throughout all of this, I was pregnant. And so when by the time I was 7 months pregnant, we had the wedding in August, and then in September I was readmitted to the hospital for a mastectomy, where the breast was actually removed. I remember waking up from surgery, and the first thing I asked the moment I could utter something out of my mouth is, how is the baby? Is the baby okay? I just wanted to know that, the baby was okay, because I remember they shared with me before I went into surgery, they told me that the policy was that if there are any complications, they have to save the mother first. And of course, you want to be alive, you want to be saved, but you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to ensure that both of you come out of this thing, alive. So they told me the baby was fine, and I was fine. The recovery process was it was not hard. I thought it would have been harder. Yes, it was hard to have to lose my breast, to remove my breast, but I became optimistic, and I thought to myself that it's better to have lost a breast and my life is saved than to have allowed it to stay there and then lose my life to that dreadful disease. So I had some time to spend with my baby. I gave birth in November. I had some time to spend with the baby, so I was able to bond, and of course I still was able to breastfeed. And then I started chemotherapy in February of the following year. Now, emotionally, this was the hardest part for me. I thought that, actually losing my breast would have been the hard part, but losing my hair was actually very rough. It was such a rough experience for me. And, some people would say, oh, it's just hair. But I've always had a lot of hair. I've gone through a lot of different hair phases, long hair. Yes, long hair, short hair, natural, permed. But I've always had hair, and I felt like, it was a part of who I am. It was a part of my identity. And I loved my hair, whether it was long or short, and to end up with no hair at all, it was very rough for me. And I remember looking in the mirror and thinking to myself that I look like a totally different person. And so I tried wigs. I've never liked wigs. I mean, now we have some really nice wigs around, and I think the wig world has come a long way, and people have become more creative and innovative where that is concerned. Now I'm seeing some really nice wigs that I wish that were around when I was going through this phase. But unfortunately, I just couldn't. I'm not a wig person. I was not used to wearing, wigs or fake hair. So it was rough for me. I tried so many wigs, and, people would make comments. There were people who didn't know what was happening, right? And so they thought that I was just trying out a new thing. And then people would just be brutal and just tell me that Velesha, that don't fit you, or that don't look good. And we are going at the style then, that don't look right. And so of course that added to, the process of dealing with the entire situation. And I remember just, you know, the security at work, the securities at work used to find it so funny that, you know, as soon as I finish working and I go into my car, I would just literally just do this and haul off the wig once I was in the car. I just felt so relieved to just slip it off my head. And it got to the point where I just said to myself, listen, I'm just going to rock this bald head. And I just got rid of the wigs and I started wearing my bald head. So during chemotherapy, I just started to just gain confidence and wearing my bald head. And a lot of persons thought, again, that I was just trying something new. They thought, you know, one person said to me, you know, Velesha, I thought, you know, you just felt like it was just your time for you to just try something new. And so you decided to just cut your hair and go bald. And I was still at work. I was still pushing. I was still behaving like everything was normal. So, you know, a lot of persons did not think that there was something happening. One of the things too is that when individuals are going through a situation and they react this tough to it, you know, like nothing is happening or that everything is okay, persons automatically treat you the same way. And for one, I didn't like sympathy. I didn't want people to be sorry for me and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I hate that you're going through this. And, you know, I didn't want people to be unhappy or to be sorry for me. So, of course, I always put on this tough face. And, you know, that was to probably a disadvantage in some cases, because sometimes you find that person's expected a little bit too much of you. And, you know, sometimes you really just could not go anymore. And even for the toughest and the strongest person, sometimes you really just can't go anymore. And, you know, I remember just thinking to myself that, Felicia, you don't have a choice. Your only option is to just fight this thing. I remained positive. I told myself that I'm not going to think of the worst case scenario. I'm only thinking of what are my options for getting better? What are my options for living for my two daughters? And that was my motivation. I just wanted to get well for them so I can be the best mother that I could be to them. So it was in all, it was a tough journey, but, you know, I remain positive, and I'm an avid believer in energy. And that is why I have faith, because I think that whatever you perceive and you think, and whatever you lament on, even if you don't say it out loud, whatever you think to yourself, whatever you are expecting, whatever you're thinking, that will materialize. And so I tried my best to think positively. I tried my best to remain calm and to silence the naysayers. And you know, Jamaicans are very unique people, and we have a way of telling people that when somebody has an illness, they have a way of finding the most doom and gloom story and say, oh, you know, my aunt died from that same thing. And so you have to be careful of the persons to whom you speak, and be careful of what you allow to enter your system, and to be careful of what you listen to, because, you know, there are some persons going to tell you, don't do this, you need to try this radical treatment, don't do chemotherapy, don't do that. Just as it is now with the whole COVID-19 pandemic, where persons, there are so many conspiracy theories out there, and, you know, everybody has home remedies, and you have the the medical practitioners telling you something else. It's basically the same things with major illnesses. So, when you have cancer, there are the persons who are going to tell you to take bush and to try the home remedies and to say you need to do this and don't go to the doctor. And so you have to be careful about who you listen to and what you allow to enter your system. And you have to be confident and have faith and pray that things will be okay. Now, one of the things that was very comforting for me is me accepting that healing comes in many different ways, right? And I got to the point where I understood and I accepted that healing sometimes can be a miracle. Healing can also come through medication and treatment. And I also, accepted that healing sometimes is transitioning to the next life. And when I explain that to a lot of persons, people are very, concerned that, are you giving up? Are you thinking of dying? No. But, you have to realize that and accept that healing comes in many different ways. And, that was one of the things that helped me to just remain level-headed and focus on getting well. And I told myself that however my healing is going to come, I'm prepared for it. But I know that it was coming.
Wow, awesome and just profound. Awesome, I tell you, I tell you, I tell you, I tell you. So how was it? What would you say? How was it for you in terms of the shocker of and the hit? Did it hit you shockingly financially? And also, how was the support around you? Would you say that support helps cushion the pressure?
Oh, yes, of course. So financially, it's wow. It was very rough financially. Cancer treatment is very expensive. And even though um I was privileged to be offered treatment in the public system, then of course there were many times that I had to pay for my medication out of pocket because it was just not available at the hospital. And of course it was rough. It literally wiped out all of my savings. So financially it was very hard. I had just had a new baby, and so things are rough, but I had a lot of support, had a lot of family support. I had a lot of support. Oh my gosh, my work family was just very supportive, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And I remember, I felt like they were right there in it with me, even though they were only my work family, but I felt like they were a part of my immediate family. They were just right there with me throughout the whole thing, coming to see me, just catering to whatever my emotional need, just letting me know that I'm there. And sometimes I felt like it was a little bit too much. They had surprise parties, and they just wanted to ensure that I was happy. Family support was also there. Just even the little things like bringing a cup of tea, and just ensuring that I was okay, because sometimes there's so much you can do and no more. But guess what? It's the little things that count. And it's these little things that I will always cherish and I will always remember. And, just being able to look at my two kids and to know that I am well and that I can be the best mother that I can be to them, was something that helped me a lot and propels me a lot. You know, I will admit that, you know, emotionally after the whole thing, emotionally, there were moments. I'm only human, and one of the things that kind of, you know, got to me was the fact that, I keep thinking to myself that I'm so young. I keep thinking of my options as it relates to reconstructive surgery. And it's very rough because I'm thinking to myself that I want to do this for me. I want to get back to feeling wholesome and, to do this surgery. But I'm also thinking to myself, let sleeping dogs lie. Don't bother to go and, trouble the whole area and so on. And so it's something that I still toy around with. It's something that definitely bothers me now and then. And it's something that I'm still considering, and weighing the options. I'm doing my research to see how I can do this, and to ensure that I make the best decision where that is concerned. So, one of the things too that I must point out is that I used to believe that, from a little girl growing up, I used to believe that angels were only spiritual beings. But I have grown to believe and to accept, through my experience, that God sends so many angels into your lives. And sometimes your angels are the persons around you. And I'm so blessed, and I feel very favored because God has placed so many angels in my life. There are so many persons who have helped me so much, and they wouldn't even imagine, they themselves wouldn't even know that they were my angel. And so I'm just so ever so grateful to God. I'm uh, it's I always express so much gratitude for all these angels, that God has placed in my life. Some came and left, some are still around, but they all have served their purpose, and they are or serving their purpose in my life. And I'm forever grateful that, at the end of the day, I have God as my greatest support system, and He's able to send others into my life to help me through this process, because it's a continuous journey. And as I say the word journey, I must point out that, my daughter's middle name, the one who I was pregnant with, during this journey, is Journey. That is her middle name. And funny enough, nobody calls her by her first name. Everybody calls her Journey. A lot of persons don't even know what her first name is, because I felt that, that period was a special journey. And I gave her that name in honor of just remembering the journey and how special it was, and how grateful I am to be alive and to have her around.
I tell you, while I sit here and I listen to your journey, I tell you, and you really pointed out some of the things that I had in mind in terms of, we as individuals, we don't want to go through nothing. We really would just want to be safe. But I tell you, I, it's just, it makes you I'm lost for words, and just listening and hear all the strength coming out throughout this journey. And you mentioned the things that out of the journey allowed you to see differently. And that is what I think is so profound after going through a phase, after going through a journey. When you're out of it, when you overcome, you can say, wow, I see things different. I value this different. And you mentioned seeing, understanding that angels are not just spiritual beings, but they're right here on earth, and God will send them to you at different time. And even if some leave, you still have a cohort of some of, oh my God, I tell you, it's just so profound. It's just so profound. Oh my God, it's just so profound. And I want you to tell us, Felicia, when did you know that this cancer was now out of your system? What was your response? What did you do? How did you respond? All of that. Give us the victory part.
So, and this may sound a little funny, but I there was no excitement, or I there are major celebrations, because I knew that I was healed. I knew that you know it was prophesied to me that I was healed, and I believed it, and I felt it in my spirit, and I felt it in my being, that I was healed. As a matter of fact, every time I go for my regular checkups, the doctor would ask me, because he would see it on my file that I did chemotherapy, and he would ask me, "Did you do radiation?" And I said no. And he said, "Wasn't it recommended?" And I said, "Yes, it was, but I chose not to do it." And he said, "Why?" And I said to him, "Because I'm better." And, a lot of persons may look at me and say, "Oh, this girl must be joking." But I chose not to do radiation because I didn't want to put my system or my body through any more of those adverse treatments, because it was prophesied to me that I was healed, and I felt it in my spirit, and I knew I was healed. And so when I do my regular checkups and they come back clean, I just say, thank God. But it's not like a jumping and clicking my heels, because I'm not surprised, because I know that God is looking out for me, and I believe in his promises, and I believe that his promises are true, and of course his prophets cannot lie. And of course, that is one of the comforting things for me. So I remain ever grateful to God, and I remain very positive. And one of the things that I want to point out to persons out there who may be listening, who's probably going through a similar diagnosis, is that every situation is different. And as I said, healing comes in different ways. And my story is here to give you hope, to motivate you, to encourage you that things will be okay, and that it is possible to beat this thing. But at the end of the day, you must also understand that my story doesn't have to be your story. And it's also important to accept that healing comes in different ways. And that's one of the things that it may be hard for you to accept. A lot of people don't want to think about it, but sometimes healing is transitioning, and that may be your story. Is it going to be the happy story that you're looking forward to? It may not be. But at the end of the day, you have to be mindful that, it can be a miraculous healing. It can mean that you need to go to the doctor and take your medication. It can be a combination of both, or it can be a situation where you just need to accept that, you have served, you have served your purpose, you have done all you can, you have fought the good fight, and your healing is coming in the form of transitioning. No, nobody wants to think that they're going to die. Nobody wants to think that death is their healing. But sometimes it's so hard for your loved ones to watch you suffer. And it's, even though it's hard to lose you or to have you go, but sometimes it's just so hard to see your loved ones suffer and in pain. And life is just what it is. Sometimes we have to just accept that not everything is going to go how we want it to go. And sometimes we pray and ask God for things, and He answers us, but His answer is not necessarily the answer you're looking for. So you ask Him for healing, but it may not come in the form of a miracle as you're expecting. As life goes on, I too have to be mindful that, I'm only human, and I have to continue with my checkups. So no matter how I tell myself that I'm healed and all these things, we know that, in this life, in this world, there are different things that life may throw at you. So I have to be cognizant of that. And, I don't want to be silly and tell myself that, oh, I'm off the hook and nothing is ever going to happen to me. So I have to remain consistent with my checkups and so on. One of the things too is that one of the things that I try not to think about, but it's there, and it's something that I know I have to deal with and pray very much about, is that I have two daughters. And especially for my older daughter, whose paternal grandmother was also diagnosed with breast cancer in the same period that I went through this. I have to bear those things in mind, and I have to know that I have to put in the prayer, and I have to put in the checkups, and I have to put in all these things to ensure that I do all that I can do to ensure that they are healthy. So sometimes, we try not to think about the other things that are there. But the more you are accepting of them and make positive steps towards addressing them, then I believe it's the best thing for your situation and to help you in going forward.
Wow, wow, wow. Isn't that profound and powerful, I tell you. Thank you so much, Velesha, for sharing your journey with us on Broken to be Blessed Network. I find a quote here which says, healing does not mean the damage never exists. It means the damage no longer controls our lives. Powerful and profound. Thank you again, Velesha, for sharing your
It was
insights
indeed my pleasure.
with us.
I hope somebody out there
I really hope so too.
thank you for having me.
Awesome. Remember, guys, to share and like. And we're building a great network over here, and we believe that persons are in need of inspiration and empowerment in this time that we're living for hope. As Felicia said it today, that healing comes in different ways, different forms. And everybody's test is different. You might be going through the same journey, but it's slightly different, and all of that. Be encouraged, be empowered. And thank you for always tuning in. Have yourself a blessed day, a blessed night, a blessed afternoon, whatever time you want. And take care. And bye bye.